The Outer Side is proudly supported by Tie Gear. Head to www.tiegear.com to explore the wide range of high-quality camping essentials, including guy ropes, screw-in tent pegs, tie-downs, and heaps more. Tie Gear. Adventure secured. Dog and Gun Coffee. Check out www.dogandguncoffee.com to grab yourself some bloody good coffee ready for adventure. G'day and welcome to The Outer Side. I'm Tony, and in this episode I'm joined by Berto. And a little known fact about Berto is that he's a lot like Madonna in that he doesn't actually have a real name. So, welcome to the show, Berto.
Cheers, mate. Good to be here.
You weren't expecting that, were you?
No.
Yeah, well, here we go. That sets the scene for the rest of it. We're starting with a fast five. What's your dream car?
GQ Patrol.
This particular GQ Patrol?
No, not this exact one.
A better one?
Yeah.
A nicer one?
A nicer one.
But would you do the same thing to it?
Slightly different. Slightly less.
Less?
Yeah.
What less?
Less mashing it up.
Yeah, well, it always starts nice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever Googled? This is a family show.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
Think about it. You can answer me
I'll
later.
think about it.
Is it true that you're being held against your will by Tyler and forced to fix his cars?
Yes.
Confirmed. Yeah, confirmed. What's the best movie of all time?
Best movie of all time. Joe Dirt, mate.
That checks out.
It's a cracker.
What would you eat for your last meal?
Bangers and beans.
Bangers and beans?
Spuds and beans.
Yeah, well,
Spuds and beans.
is that an ominous sign that that's what you just ate?
Could be. There's a bit on tomorrow.
There could be a bit on tomorrow.
There could be a bit on.
All right. So how did you get into four-wheel drives in the first place? Did you grow up around them, or was it something that came later?
No, I didn't. What happened, I was working as a mechanic, and my old boss actually had four-wheel drives, and I was like, that looks like a pretty good lifestyle. And then one day I was just like, I'll buy one. And then, did a little bit of this, a little bit of that, mostly touring. And now I've evolved.
You have evolved.
I've evolved.
What was your first four-wheel drive?
Suzuki Sierra.
Sick.
Yeah.
Would you ever get another one?
I've got another one.
Oh, you bought one?
I've got, it's my backup daily.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it the same one? Or you?
Nah, I've had like 14 of them. Yeah.
At what point does it become like somewhat of an addiction when you've got 14 of the same model vehicle, or you just keep mashing them?
Nah, that was when I was on my piece, so I ruined them.
Yeah.
And then bought another one, used the old one for parts.
Yeah.
It was just a cycle. I think at one stage I had like 3 in my dad's driveway. And like every now and then he'd be like, hey, you're going to have to get the wrecker to come. And they'd come with like a crane and they'd pick them up and take them away. But
I've been there, man. I was like that with VK and VL Commodores.
yeah.
I've still got one on my RMS profile.
Yeah.
Because it got wrecked with a plate on it, and it's just never come out of my name.
It's still just there.
It's still just there. I don't know. It's going to live on. It's been there for like 20 years now.
Literally.
Just reminds me of earlier bad decisions.
The legacy.
Yeah, well, earlier financial mistakes.
Yeah.
So you're like, I would say, a bit of a GQ Patrol fanatic now. Is that fair?
Yeah. It's sort of, yeah. Pretty much. Almost. A little bit.
Almost.
A little
Is
bit.
this the first one you've had, or have you had others?
This is the first one I've had.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So how long have you had this car for?
I think it's coming up 6 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
5-6 years, something like that. It's been a minute.
So did you go from a Sierra to a GQ?
No, I went from a 5-litre VS Commodore Ute to that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you did a bit of street car stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done a bit of this, bit of that.
So when you were a mechanic early on, did it start with street car stuff before you got into the Sierras, or was it?
No, Sierras. Well, I had just a normal car, and then one day I was like, I'll buy a Sierra. They're cool. I've always, wanted one. And then, I had them from like 17, 18 maybe, and then it was just your typical P-plater, go out in the mud, bash it around.
Yeah.
Not really do forward driving, but drive up stuff and just.
It's the same way everyone starts, right? Just mud bogging and.
Yeah, and then I sold them. Didn't touch a four-wheel drive for like, I don't know, 8 years.
Really?
Yeah, just had normal cars and V8 Commodores and random stuff like that, and it was a bit of a rat bag.
You still are a rat bag. You're just in a different car.
Yeah, well, you don't lose your license in a four-wheel drive.
yeah.
It's not as easy.
Yeah, it's harder.
So it's harder. So.
Yeah, right. So you're a fully qualified mechanic?
I am, yeah, light vehicle.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you were doing that before you started working for Tyler.
Yeah. I was like head mechanic at a workshop with a bloke that I used to be friends with.
Oh, yeah?
So, and then that we sort of had a falling out.
Yeah.
And Tyler picked me up, and here we are.
Yeah, right.
So,
So you're not actually forced against your will, unlike what
Nah.
is written in a lot of the YouTube comments about
Nah,
poor Berto having to fix the cars all the time.
No, I'm there voluntarily. He's a good boss. Yeah.
Yeah. He's also sitting just over there, so we'll talk about it off camera
we'll
later.
talk about it later.
Yeah, once he goes to bed, we'll get the truth out.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. So this car I'm assuming you've built it all yourself?
Yeah, I haven't paid it all. Unless when I get lazy and I make all my mates do all the maintenance. But
That's fair.
pretty much. Yeah.
And was she stock when you got it, or?
No, it was 2-inch 33s, 10 mil, no intercooler, old turbo glide kit, big safari rack on the roof.
Yeah. Just a classic GQ.
Pretty much just your classic GQ that had been getting around for however long from some little old dude. And then, I got it off some kid that must have got it off an old dude, and it was a lot cleaner than it is now.
Yeah, but it's been used for the purpose in which it was intended, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, not initially. It probably was nice until I started with Mr. Thompson.
Oh, so now you're blaming Tyler for
It's his fault that I'm good at
I don't
wheeling.
know, man. I see a lot of videos of you mashing this car when Tyler's not around, so I'm not sure that he can take all of the blame for that.
It's became a little hobby now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you certainly seem to be pretty into it. You're just following you on Instagram. I see you're out and about more than most people.
Yeah. My job is a pretty good lifestyle job. I've got a lot of time to get here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm probably about more than most people.
Yeah, definitely.
Doing more driving than most people.
You still enjoy it, obviously.
Yeah. It's definitely I'd say it's my main hobby.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything better than going Forbian with mates and you sort of push each other to do sillier and sillier stuff, and then when you do it, it feels great.
Yeah.
And you just keep doing it. So.
Yeah, that's definitely the case, and I think like for everyone that I know, for me and for a lot of my mates that I wheel with, like it escalates quickly, eh?
Oh, very quickly. Like I go with my good friend Alan, and his car was nice, and it's worse than mine.
That's Grouse 4x4.
Grouse, yeah. So he started off, pretty nice. I met him here randomly once, actually. I was here with some mates, just like social wheeling, not really doing hard wheeling. We drove to Greensburg. He was coming the other way. Next thing you know, he turned around, followed us down the bottom. He's like, can I come with you? And he was with his partner and kids and whatever. And we're like, oh, he's in a 79 series. Like, is he going to be all right?
Yeah.
And yeah, he was. And then ever since then, we've been.
He seems like, I haven't met him, but I talked to him online a bit. He seems like a frother.
Oh, he's a legend. He's a good bloke.
Yeah. And that poor 80 seems to cop as much panel damage as any of them, right?
Yeah, and like he breaks a lot.
He
being
drives
an
pretty
80
hard.
series. But I think he's finally refined it. He can sort of keep up now.
Hey, I've got a foot in each camp, so I don't get upset about Toyota versus Nissan, mate.
No, I've driven his 80 series. It's well capable.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So what's this thing running now?
Currently, it's running front locker, 5-link, long arms, pretty much your bolt-on Patrol starter kit, 35s, unopened silver top. It's meant to have like 700,000 Ks on it, a 23L and a 10mm. So everyone,
A 23L and a 10mm.
Yeah.
How does that go?
It makes boost at like 1400 RPM. They're not as crazy
Really?
as what everyone thinks.
Yeah, I thought they'd come on quite late.
Nah, they're just linear. Instead of being snappy, they're just linear.
Yeah, so probably a bit kinder on the driveline.
Yeah, and your crank. That was the main reason.
Did you snap a
I
crank?
snapped one, and then my last motor that I just dusted was like a fully built motor, billet crank, rods, head studs, the whole lot. Just ate a bunch of dust. So.
Really?
Yep, crappy air filters, but we won't dig too deep into that. It's a touchy subject.
Yeah. So is that recent?
Yeah, that would have been just before Christmas. I pulled the motor out. I did a turbo, and the turbo ate something, which I assume would have been carbon from burn oil, which it was burning oil for pretty much since we did Cape.
Yeah, right.
Obviously, when you're filming and following, it's pretty hard to stay out of the dust. And if you have a good filter, it's not normally a problem. But yeah, and like it happened. Like that motor had 45,000 Ks on it that I'd done.
Wow.
So
a freshie.
pretty much, yeah.
Was that running big boost and everything?
Yeah, so it's like 32 pound, 270 horsepower.
Yeah, okay, so enough.
Yeah, enough for a TD, that's for
And
sure.
how's been the transition back to low power life?
I'm actually not minding it. It doesn't
Yeah.
get hot. You can sit on the beach, flat bicky, third gear, the whole beach. It doesn't get hot.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, so it's good. You can sort of just drive and not stress. Where before, with even your 80 probably sort of gets slightly warm.
No, it doesn't get hot, but like if I flog it, I'll break stuff.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I'm scared of that car because it makes so much torque that I know if I drive it hard, like I'll probably break things.
Yeah. Well, I've broken ACV since I put a GU front diff in it. But other than that, random rear diffs every now and then when you have heaps of power.
Yeah.
Which I think is just
What, 233 rear in this?
yeah, just your little baby one. I think I've done 3 rear diffs.
Yeah, right. Well, that makes me feel better. I've only done 2, but all mine are on the street.
Yeah, mine are only ever driving on the street.
Yeah.
Never in the bush.
That's funny that, eh? Like,
I figured it's normally after a long drive where everything's hot, your oil gets thin, and after enough heat cycles, everything just fatigues.
and heaps of traction on the street.
Yeah, and heaps of traction on the street. That's just a recipe for disaster.
Bang.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what a diesel does on the street when you have some power,
Yeah.
and pretty much call it a 315 size drag tyre.
Yeah.
Like they have plenty of grip.
Yeah, well, like I said, diffs, gearbox, everything that I've
Yeah.
broken has been on the road. Like off-road, it just breaks traction, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Not driveline components.
Yeah.
So, what's your plan with this car? Like, are you going to keep going the way you're going, or are you going to give it a birthday sometime?
I'm sort of 50-50 at the moment. I half want to give it a birthday so it lasts a bit longer. Probably needs a new body, if I'm going to be frank.
Yeah.
Everything else, like it's a good car, other than it's a bit rough.
Is it rusty?
A little bit, but not like the roof isn't.
Yeah.
The gutters are sort of starting to where I had all the clamps and stuff. And one of my rear arches is a little bit rusty from where it's just
Yeah.
like...
But it's just all the panel damage and all that you reckon it needs a new body?
Yeah. And being so heavy and doing a lot of touring and hard wheeling, all the metal cracks, so like all your inner guards and that crack, and it's a freshen up.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I'm trying not to abuse my wagon, because
Yeah.
it's big and it's heavy and obviously it's had a lot of money put into it, but like
Yeah.
the fatigue on them, it catches up on them, eh?
Yeah, and literally. And like what I think I figured out how much that thing is meant to owe me. It's like 90 grand.
Yeah.
And look at it.
Nah, it's sick. It's got character, mate.
It does have character. But
So you'll keep going with this one. You might give it a birthday, you might not. But in the meantime, you've got another project going on in the background.
yeah, in the meantime, I am building a ute on Tyler's channel, which is a GQ.
Yep.
It's going to have my big fancy motor in it.
Yeah.
And, all the usual lockers, and I'm going to make it twin locked. This used to be twin locked, but I broke one, I haven't fixed it, and haven't needed
LSD
it.
in the rear.
Yeah, exactly. They're good enough. But yeah, maybe slightly taller, because obviously I get hung up on stuff.
Yeah.
This thing's like, I don't know, 2-ish inch. It's little.
Yeah.
It's tiny.
It probably feels pretty safe.
It does. So I'm trying to sort of, everything this thing struggles at, I'm going to try and change.
Yeah.
And it's got fancy rear suspension, same as your ute.
Yeah.
You can't really get
Well,
much better.
I was going to say we shouldn't talk about that, but we can, because it won't matter. By the time this comes out, that problem will have already been resolved.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's a Kinsella's Customs 4-link in the rear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
sick.
superior everything else.
Yeah.
So
And what are
should
you
be a
doing,
good
like
setup.
long arm front or just radius arm front?
5-link, same as this.
Yeah, right.
So it's literally the same setup as this, slightly taller, but with a double triangulated 4-link.
Yeah, sick.
And then hopefully, eventually, I'll do like a jack-off canopy, so you can have all your rooftop and everything and still tour, and then just put legs down and drive out, go reeling, come back.
So best of both worlds sort of thing.
Yeah, which is pretty hard to do in a wagon.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. You start cutting the back off a wagon and it's a sort of a point of no return.
Yeah.
So you're going to try and tour out of that ute?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
It's
right.
going to be more of a hard wheel / tour than a straight hard wheel.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That'll turn into my straight hard wheel. Mash
Yeah, right.
won't care too much about car.
Yeah, okay.
You get a GQ body for a couple grand, worst case, and put it on. Or I might end up with 2 utes. So
Yeah, well.
I only run 2 seats. It's only a wagon because I got a wagon.
Yeah, have you had a single cab GQ before?
No, but I'm really short, so it doesn't matter.
I was going to say, as I was saying that, I'm like, it's probably not as big an issue for you. I reckon I'm right on the height limit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 5'11", and I reckon if I was 6 foot, I couldn't drive that thing long distance.
Well, I see it seat all the way forward in a
Yeah,
GQ,
so
so
you'll be
like
alright.
I should be fine. And I've got the bubble back, so it's like the biggest factory cab,
Yeah.
like the full bubble, not like a half.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
mine's a half, but like, I reckon there's an inch of travel in the seat front to back, eh? Like, there's just nothing in them.
No, that's not.
But yeah, it should be alright for you.
Should be fine.
So, what's the sort of timeline on that thing? Like, last time I saw it, it was 2 chassis rails, but then you did a week of work on it, and it looked like,
Yeah.
it looked like it was a lot more of a car.
I did 2 weeks of work on it, and it's pretty much a rolling chassis, so diffs, all suspension work's done, suspension's in it, chassis painted, brake lines are just made. No one's seen that yet, but that's what's coming up.
Yep.
We're about to move, and then hopefully I can do some body work, make a tray, and then I think the rest of it will just be me getting money to pay for everything.
It's always the
It's going
challenge.
to be
isn't it?
expensive, but I'm hoping for end of the year,
Yeah, right.
which
That's pretty cool.
I don't know. It's one of them timelines that could be a timeline, might not be a timeline, but that's the
Just depends, eh?
goal and the plan.
Have you ever built a car from the ground up like that before?
Never. The nicest cars I've ever built, I've been Tyler's, like all his cars. Like this thing's literally built off mostly hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
And, you know, all my motor and turbo and everything and rims I've bought, they're all been new. But yeah, nothing's ever been ground up.
Yeah.
And like I think I've taken it to a even more of a level than what I've done with Tyler's, where I'm trying to replace every single bolt that goes in it and all the brake lines and like literally everything should be,
So it's like a new car.
yeah. And I'll try and keep it nice.
Are you keeping a log of how many hours you've put into that thing so far?
Nah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I haven't.
It's probably scary. You probably don't want to know, eh?
Yeah, literally. Like I spent, while he was away, it was literally a solid 2 weeks on the grinder and the welder.
Really?
Yeah. Good, the most part of it, yeah.
So when you said you put in your big motor, are you rebuilding the one that you blew up in this thing? Is that the plan?
Yeah, I'm getting it rebuilt again. The same people that built it last time.
Mm.
They're the gurus.
Yep. Who's that?
Curry Brothers in
Oh, yeah.
Tari.
Yeah. I've
So
heard
they
of them
sort of do, I don't know, they get people sent from everywhere. I've had heaps of people I've recommended to go there. And they've always been good. That we used to use them through work, and then I've, you know, sort of become mates with them and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, what happened to it wasn't their fault. It was just my fault. And
Yeah,
other
yeah.
than it copped a lot of abuse for like 50,000 Ks.
Yeah.
So for nothing to really happen that whole time, I thought that's pretty good. And then
Yeah.
I was like, do I just put a different motor in it, or what do I do? If I don't rebuild it, then there's $6,000 in like billet crank rods, head studs that I've just wasted,
Mm.
or I spend another, you know, 8, 9, 10 grand fixing it, and it's, you know, they're a good tourer. They're good for crawling. They're good for just being reliable and
Yeah.
copping a fair bit of abuse.
Oh man, I'm constantly blown away. Like
Yeah.
my car is not running big power by any means. Like the Ute, I don't know, it probably makes like 80 horsepower.
Yeah.
But that thing had some severe overheating issues, and like in Tassie, I had that sitting on like 130 for days, and it's fine.
It's still
Like,
it's still
it's
living.
still fine. Like still drove home.
Yeah.
They're pretty agricultural, but they cop some abuse. Eh?
Yeah. Yeah, they really only break too much when you abuse them when they make too much power.
Yeah, right.
Which you got to think factory, they're 40 horsepower in a GQ.
Yeah, so
So by the time you go
270 's up
270, it's like what, 400%? Like it's a fair bit.
there. Yeah, I was talking to Dave Swarbrick from Blue Flame recently
Yeah.
about this very topic, and he's like, they get a really bad rap, like the TD. When you
Yeah.
look at what the abuse that they endure,
Yeah.
and the number of P-platers that flog them, and
The owners.
yeah. It's not the engine's fault. Right?
Nah, it's funny because no one knows, but FTEs and 1HZs and that, they also snap cranks.
Really,
Just not as many people run heaps of power, and the people that do are more respectable.
I'm somewhat terrified that you told me that, because I'm not that respectable and I run heaps of power in my FTE. So I really hope that the crank holds together.
You got hard cut limiter or what?
No.
No? Your fucking rods will be fine then.
Yeah. Well, it's making 350 at the wheels at the moment, and
Yeah.
the boys that build it reckon as long as it's under 400, I shouldn't bend rods. And they also asked me to keep it off the limiter because it did lift ahead.
Hard cut limiter is what bends rods.
Yeah, right.
I had a mate that had one that made 436 in an 80 series, and it didn't bend any rods. But that was stock motor.
Yeah.
Just with bolt-ons.
Yeah, well, that's what mine is. It's got studs now because it lifted the head.
Yeah, that's half your battle.
Yeah,
Half your
just
battle.
bolt it back down and go again.
Yeah.
Would you ever consider going anything other than a TD in one of these?
Yeah, if money wasn't an option, probably. I don't know what. I initially thought about when it first blew up, putting the first Barra that we got for Tyler in it. That's how he ended up with that car, because I was the one I was going to buy to do it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind putting like a little Euro M57 or M606 or just something little but
Pretty
still
cool,
makes
eh?
power.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
Those M57s are an interesting thing, eh? And they're still cheap at the moment.
they're very cheap still.
Yeah, like you can buy a whole X5 for like $5,000.
Literally. Yeah. Spend another 3 and you've got a conversion.
But it's a lot more. There's a lot more complexity in those motors, right?
Yeah, there is.
A lot more wiring and.
Yeah, there is. So that's TD's main benefit.
One wire.
One wire. One wire and they run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Literally.
So before you started with Tyler, like obviously you do a lot of traveling now. Were you doing like any sort of touring trips before, or were you just doing like local wheeling? What was your sort of?
I didn't even do much wheeling. It was mostly just going camping on the weekend with all my mates and the missus and here, there, and I've done a Fraser trip without Tyler, and I didn't really do all that much other than drive around our local area within a 3-hour radius of random camps and national parks and gorges and stuff. And the beach, we have like 4 beaches you can drive on at home. So,
yeah, true.
Mostly living on the beach.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if it's a good thing for a GQ TD42 owner though.
Yeah. It's all right. Low tide. Low tide or night tide.
Stay out of the soft stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, you've done quite a bit of touring now.
I've done a fair bit of touring in the last, 18 months.
Is that how long you've been on the channel?
How long? It's probably been 18 months.
Yeah, about 18 months.
18 months, yeah.
Has he passed his probationary period yet, Tyler?
Yeah, he's getting there.
He's getting there. Yeah, that was like a thinly veiled warning just to make sure that you don't say anything rogue during this discussion, right?
Mate, he's getting spotted real bad tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll get a call like, oh, I'm on my roof.
Yeah, have you got a trailer?
Well, unfortunately I won't be able to help because I've got my own car-related issues at the moment.
Nah, we'll be sweet.
So, you've done what? Like, you've done the desert?
What do we do? Simpson Desert. We did a bit of Northern Territory, Alice Springs. We went past Fink, Udnadata Track, some of Flinders Ranges. We've done South Coast, Nowra, Lithgow, Cape York. Have we done anywhere else? We've done a fair bit. We did High Country as well.
Yeah.
So I've had a pretty good variety of the East Coast and a bit of the centre. We did Uluru. Uluru was sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've done a lot in the last 18 months.
That's more than most people do in their whole life. Yeah.
Literally. Literally.
Yeah. So, do you have a favourite?
Favourite, probably place to go, destination that I enjoy would have been Cape. Just,
Really?
Swimming and, there's some phobia, some of it's pretty scary. Nothing's really too hard, but it's just an all-round sort of good time.
What's scary about it?
I know you go to we rocked up to Palm Creek and was like, oh yeah, we'll do it. And then we looked at it and we're like, oh, that's like 2 or 3 of me standing up. But
It's like a vertical drop.
it's just nerve wracking. But it's nothing crazy hard. It's just it's all up in your head.
Yeah, well, isn't most of it is, right?
Yeah.
But we were talking about this before we started filming, right? Like, for me, hard equals like risk. Like,
Yeah.
if something's like challenging to drive, but you're not going to die, then I don't think that's particularly hard.
Yeah. It's risk versus reward. So risk versus panel damage, or risk versus ruining your car.
Yeah.
Yeah, or risk versus getting hurt.
Yeah, and I think, like, I don't know. I mean, I can say I don't really care about hurting a car. I do.
Yeah.
But like, when you're physically at risk, I think that's when it gets in your head, right?
Yeah, it definitely, yeah.
Do you find like as you do more of it, you get like obviously you build confidence.
I get
as you
immune
experience?
to.
You're immune.
We told he's got a Amarok that's just over there, and we're like, oh, should we just take him up Whiteman's Lane? And I was like, yeah, it's a pretty good warm-up track. I've seen a Triton go up it. Like, surely we could get him up it. Did it today. I'm like, lucky we didn't take it. I've just realised that when I say something's all right,
Yeah.
it's probably not all right for the average four-wheel driver.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely the case. Like a lot of the guys that I drive with are way more experienced than me and have been doing it a lot longer. And they're like, oh, this is easy. And I get there and I'm like, what is wrong with you people?
I normally class it off their car too. So like if they go, oh, I've got, a single or twin lock car with 35s, and they're like, oh, should I come do this track? And I'm like, yeah, I don't see why you couldn't do it. And then it just goes down to driver seat time practice. Because I've done that a few times and it's ended up like, oh yeah, follow me up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I suppose like you're not forcing anyone to do it, right?
No, never.
So it's up to them if they want to do it. You just got to know your own limitations.
Exactly, and that's the sort of time people find their limits pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, man, like we were talking about before, I've found my limit on more than one occasion. But yeah, and I think like. I know for me, like the more confident that you get in one particular vehicle as well makes a big difference.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like I'm sure if you threw me into some vehicle I'd never driven before, I wouldn't be anywhere near as confident as I am in like the GQ, for example.
Literally no chance. Alan let me drive his car, and I was driving it, and I'm like, can I bump this up this without exploding your whole driveline? Because you've seen how I drive. It's
absolutely.
It's not the most nice.
I wouldn't let you drive my 80, put it that way.
But Alan did.
Yeah.
It didn't break.
Alan's doesn't make like 900 Newton meters though either, I'm guessing.
It makes no power.
Really? Well, that's probably what holds it together.
It makes no power. And it's got chromoly everything.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's got everything now. Rear axles, front axles.
How did you find the 80 compared to a GQ?
His car's very capable.
Is it?
Yeah, very capable. I sit way lower in it. And he's a sort of a beater as well, so it wasn't the most refined. It had like no power steering.
Yeah, okay.
But I have driven a few. I do enjoy an 80 series.
Yeah.
They're much comfier. Like Tyler's one, it's like you can jump in that and drive it every day, all day, as far as you want. It's the comfiest car.
That's what I do in mine,
mate. It's literally like you hop into a new car, it's just as quiet, just as comfy as a brand new car.
Yeah. It's funny, like, because I get asked a lot about my car. Like, people are amazed that I still daily drive my 80.
Yeah.
Because it's 33 years old or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I borrowed Hayden from HD Auto's 200 when I was in Queensland for a couple of days. And he's like, oh, how much do you love it? And I was like, I prefer my 80. And he was like, what? What's wrong with you? And I'm like comparing it to this like quite modern, quite expensive vehicle, but it just wasn't the same.
Yeah. I after Brizzy show, I hopped in Max 250 series Berto and drove that back to the sunny coast. Mate, I was in paradise compared to that.
Yeah, yeah. You're like, this is a luxury vehicle.
That's the nicest car I've ever driven.
Yeah, I haven't driven one of them yet, but I like the look of them.
They're
man.
flash.
I reckon they're cool.
Yeah, they're cool.
What do you think of like current model Nissans?
Like a Navara and a 62.
Yeah. Or, you're only going to offend like
V8 Patrol is cool. It'd be cool. I don't know, I wouldn't really call it a useful tourer.
Yeah, why's that?
It's a wagon. Like, yeah, but like, it's got a purpose. It's not, like I wouldn't strip all the seats out of a Y62 and put some King straws in the back.
Might put some King shocks in it.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be my first choice.
If you had to buy a new car, what would you buy?
Depends what I needed to buy a new car for.
Well, you don't have to buy it for any reason. I'm just suggesting that
if I had to buy a new car, if I had to buy a new car just to drive around, it's probably a daily and a nice comfy car. I'd probably buy a new BT50.
Really?
Yeah, nice comfy. Just hop in, don't break, comfy.
Do you think that you would actually just keep it nice and not modify it though?
I'd probably put some rims, tyres and a snorkel on it, but that'd probably be the extent. It'd probably be like a beach camp to a national parks car.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? Like a sensible vehicle. Probably get it tuned.
But I might put a bigger turbo on it. Like, you strike me as the sort of person though that's not going to just like leave anything alone.
Yeah, probably.
Is that a fair question?
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
So what are you daily at the moment?
I have, it's a funny question. I've got a 2013 Mahindra.
Really?
Yeah, my mum gave it to me as a hand-me-down.
As in like the one that looks like a 79?
No, it's a SUV, so it's an XUV 500. Have a
Yeah.
look at me. They're the ugliest car you've ever seen. But it's like a 2.5 litre turbo diesel. Gets 5-6 litres, 100.
Really?
I drove from Port to Sunny Coast on half a tank. And it's, leather seats, 7 seats, front rear aircon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's comfy.
Yeah.
Cruise
man,
control.
I couldn't care less. Like I've had some dailies that I wouldn't admit to, but
Yeah.
what do you reckon about like all the Chinese stuff? Because like I know you guys have had a little bit. There's a Jack in the fleet at the moment.
Yeah, there's a Jack in the fleet, which it actually seems pretty solid
Yeah.
so far.
Who makes that? Is that the brand?
Jack is the brand, so it's a Jack T9.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like I don't know, I suppose that's the top of the line dual cab
Mm.
that we have, and it's comfy enough. Yeah.
Do you reckon what do you reckon like the longevity of those vehicles are? Because you see heaps of those like LDV T60s and like you see heaps of them on the road.
I don't know, but I imagine it's probably not the same as a Japanese built or Euro built sort of vehicle.
But you're getting what you pay for, right? It's also like less than half the price.
No, they're not.
Are they?
They're 4 or 5 grand cheaper than a D-Max.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they were. I mean, I haven't looked to be honest.
I
but
haven't
thought
looked
they were
either,
quite
but
cheap.
that's what I heard. They're
Yeah.
not much cheaper.
Yeah, right.
But it is like a decent car inside, outside. It goes pretty good, but yeah, no idea how long it'll last or...
Well, no one does, right?
Yeah, they're new.
We'll wait and find out.
Exactly.
What about like the whole?
We're getting ambushed, eh?
Yeah, is there an animal?
Yeah,
over
it's
there?
a possum coming our way.
Oh, look at him. He's like, hey, what's going on, guys? I've had heaps of dogs on this show before, but
Oh,
I've
really?
never had a possum.
Come
I
here,
reckon
little
he's
fella.
coming in, eh?
He's coming into the lights.
He's pretty bold.
Yeah. I've been watching him for the last 3 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, came from your car.
Oh, sick.
He's been in there.
Yeah, he's been in
He's
the back of
been
the
in
80s.
there,
Like,
right?
oh, it's pretty nice in here. It's probably a good thing my dog isn't here, or we'd be seeing possum murder live on the
Live on the channel.
On the channel. It's like I'm not sure if YouTube would appreciate seeing a possum get torn up by a Jack Russell.
Literally.
The
The possum might win.
Look, he's going into the swag now.
Oh, mate, if he ends up in your swag...
For anyone that's listening to this on audio only, they're going to be going, "What is wrong with these blokes?" But
Look,
where is he going?
are you feeding him? Yeah, he's
Oh, is
getting,
he?
Don't feed the wildlife, mate.
Yeah, isn't that against the law?
Yeah.
What I was going to ask you before we got gate crashed by a possum, what do you think about like the hybrid electric kind of four-wheel drives?
I don't like them.
Yeah.
They don't seem to do very well.
Mm.
And I don't think they have very good range. Like they're not quite refined enough for
In terms
it.
of like the range out of the batteries.
Yeah, and just like their driving systems, I don't think like it's meant to be a four-wheel drive ute, but you hit like a little ledge and you can't drive up it.
Mm.
From what I've seen. But
Yeah. Well, is that like a hybrid ute, you mean, or?
yeah, what did I see? Was it the BYD Shark?
Oh yeah.
I think Mad Matt has one.
Yeah, he just got one.
He tried to drive it up Beer Clog Hill, didn't go very far.
Oh really?
Yeah. Should check it out.
Yeah, I'll have a look.
He makes it to like the very first sign, and then it just sort of, you hold your foot flat and it doesn't let you drive.
Yeah, well, this is the problem with like heaps of the modern cars, right? Like all the driver assist technology that in fact does not assist you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Hindrance.
do you, yeah, driver hindrance technology. Do you reckon it's going to change though? Like, do you see a future where electric four-wheel drives are able to do the same things that we do in our diesels?
Man, I reckon by the time they sort them out enough to do that, we probably won't even be allowed to drive around out here.
You reckon?
Yeah, and we probably won't be allowed to drive our diesel cars.
Yeah, well, that is something I think about a lot because I've got a lot of money invested in my diesel car, and I think, is this going to be like a really expensive
Are they going to give us
car
like a
morning?
payout or what?
Yeah, it'd be like a gun buyback.
Yeah,
except,
literally. So what's this one? Oh, here's the mod list.
Yeah, oh, fully. Well, this is what it's insured for, so you can pay me that much and I'll stop driving it.
Literally.
You reckon that's going to happen?
Don't know. I reckon in the future enough there probably will be something like that. Everything's sort of going a bit whack.
Would you say California, 2030? They said no more diesel vehicles to
Nah.
be sold after 2030 in California.
Yeah, to be
The
sold.
government's signed off on it.
can still drive it, but
Well, yeah, but it's a starting
imagine the
point.
tax too.
Yeah, well, and in some countries, like I know in Japan, like if you've got an older car there, you pay mega
Yeah,
tax.
that's. I think it's like 5 years, and they sort of bid them out and get new ones.
Because the tax on them's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So when you're in Japan and you see like a 60 LandCruiser or like
Someone's paying a lot of
someone's
money to
paying
have that.
heaps of money, you know, they're like a proper enthusiast.
Yeah, literally.
And when you say like maybe we won't be allowed to drive around out here,
Yeah.
do you reckon that's the way it's going?
Oh, slowly. Hopefully not, but more and more places are for, let's save this so our future generations can look at it, but then no one ends up looking at it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, you know that's something that I'm very passionate about.
Yeah, you're
at
an
the moment.
advocate.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm just having a crack, I suppose. But
Yeah.
I'm doing that really just because of my daughter, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and I see Tyler out with his kids, and like, obviously I had Tyler on the show, and he was talking about why he's got a full drive in the first place was
Yeah.
to take his son out.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to think about the reality of not being able to do that with my daughter.
Oh, definitely. Like, I remember when I was a kid, old boy take you out camping, whatever. And then, it's probably half. Like, if they never did that, I'd never be out here doing this now. So I wouldn't imagine if I had a kid that they wouldn't be able to come and do this if they wanted to.
Yeah, and that's so true, man. Like, I think pretty much everyone I've had on this show, when I ask them, like, did you do this when you were younger? They're like, of course I did. Like,
Yeah.
I went camping when I was a kid. Or
Mate,
I
there's
went fishing.
plenty of cool memories out here, out and about, not tucked away in a city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's funny when you speak to a city person, they're like, oh, you go out to the sticks. They call it the sticks. It's like, yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. It's actually beautiful.
It's so much better.
I'd rather be here than be locked in a house somewhere.
Literally.
Yeah, I mean that's a big part of why I choose to do this outdoors, right?
Yeah. Rather than in a little office.
I could be in a studio, like I could do that, but like, where's the fun in that?
Mate, we're sitting here. There's a possum coming in.
Yeah, there's a possum in my swag.
We can hear a waterfall going.
Yeah.
There's birds sometimes chirping.
Yeah.
The air's fresh.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, it's nice, man. And I think like we've got to find some sort of middle ground with it, right? Like,
Yeah.
and
definitely.
I think this is like something I've really come up against in the last few months with like the whole petition and everything is people going, oh, you just want to be allowed to do anything anywhere. It's like, nah,
There's definitely a middle ground.
it's actually not that.
Yeah.
But we'd like to have some access to it, right?
Yeah, definitely. Some free access.
Free is good.
Free is good.
Well, and that's part of the appeal, right? Like
Yeah.
a bit of that exploration, adventure, being able to like
Yeah.
find stuff.
Adventure.
Does a four-wheel drive park have the same appeal to you?
Nah, not really. Normally you go there, you're going there to do a certain thing. So normally if I go to one, I'm going there to do a certain obstacle. I'm not going there to explore that park and, check out its stuff they have, unless they have something really amazing there, which
They don't.
most don't.
Yeah. Well, because
It's impossible to just capture something random.
well, it's all
It's very unlikely to own something. Like,
Yeah, 'cause it's
you're not going
all
to own a massive waterfall.
national park or
Exactly. Someone's already claimed it. We're past that stage.
I didn't want to go down that path of the someone's claimed it, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely a thing.
Yeah,
that,
cut that out.
Nah, look, it's the reality, right? Like,
Yeah.
I had Ben Casella on the show a while ago, and he said that like of the freehold land, of the leasehold land in Australia, over 50% of it's under native title claim.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be.
It's a big chunk.
It's a massive
and so
chunk.
like you combine that with national parks,
Yeah.
state conservation areas,
There's not much left.
and then the freehold land that people own. It's like, I wonder what the future looks like. If we're not allowed to access public land, like we're sitting in a state forest at the moment,
Yeah.
and it's mad, right?
Yeah, it's good.
We've got a fire.
Yeah.
We could have dogs here.
Yeah.
You can,
You can do anything legally.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, and even
The-
legally in this forest, you can shoot,
Yeah.
you can ride bikes, you can drive cars, you can cut wood, you can do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, like, if that all gets taken away, like if this all gets turned into national park and gated, like where do these people that want to do this stuff go?
It doesn't go anywhere, man. It doesn't happen.
But are you going to accept that?
Probably not. Probably come here anyway.
We might have to cut that bit. Yeah, but like, I mean, that's the reality of it, right? And I think
Yeah.
one of the biggest problems that we're facing at the moment, like even here, right? It's midweek at the moment, so it's pretty quiet up here. But come Saturday, there's going to be 8
It'll be
million bikes up here.
Yeah.
And four-wheel drives, and like Lithgow's management plan got released last night, and the management plan is no four-wheel drives, no bikes, pretty much.
Yeah.
So you're just condensing the people that want to do this stuff
They're going to go further.
condensing them into a smaller area, which
Yeah.
makes the impact greater.
Yeah.
So then what is the long term? Like, are they forcing people to break the law?
Sounds like it.
You can say it, it doesn't matter. You're not admitting to anything. As long as,
Yeah.
as long as we just cover your number plate.
Nah, yeah, cut that out, would you? Flip it up.
There'll just be like a little floating, like,
Yeah,
blurry bit.
yeah, can't
I'll
get
have to
it.
figure out how to do that in the editing. I'm not that
At least
good
it's
at
not
it.
moving.
Yeah, well, you're not technically driving it. You might have brought it here on a trailer, right?
Still registered, doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, we covered that earlier, didn't we? I don't want to talk about that. I'll talk about that once I solve that particular problem.
Yeah, once you figure that out, let us know.
yeah. It'll probably help you for future endeavours.
Yeah. You give me that guy's phone number.
Yeah, well, we'll see how we go with that.
Yeah.
So what's the kind of future for you look like? You reckon you're going to keep doing what you're doing, like spinning spanners and travelling? It sounds like a pretty good gig to me.
I don't really like spinning spanners, but if it keeps me travelling, we'll keep doing it.
So a mechanic that doesn't like mechanicing?
I don't mind it. I do like work. I like working on pretty much anyone's car that's not mine. I hate working on my own car.
I've heard you say that before.
Hate working on my own car.
Why?
Don't know. I just hate working on my own car. I don't know why.
That's like the most mechanic thing I've ever heard, eh? You know, like
Yeah.
mechanics always got like a car that's almost broken down and like...
Yeah.
It's just like a
They're
bucket
never
of
good.
bolts. I've never met a mechanic that's got a mad car, eh?
It's coming up. I'm getting there.
Yeah, but you don't want to... Yeah, that's so ironic, though. You're like, I don't like working on my own car, but you're doing a nut and bolt ground-up build on a car.
Yeah. I don't know. I think stuff like this, it ends up just being maintenance most of the time. He likes doing that. Yeah, I don't mind. What we do too, I don't really have to do every day, do this clutch, do that air filter, do that service.
Yeah, upgrading stuff.
Yeah, I'm sort of building cool stuff. So it's, it's pretty good.
Yeah, if you were working in like a Ford dealership doing like routine maintenance.
Yeah, I haven't worked in a dealership ever, and I don't think I ever will work in a dealership.
Yeah, it'd be a good way to kill your passion, eh?
Honestly, I don't reckon if I left what I was doing now with Tyler, I probably wouldn't go back to being a mechanic.
What would you do?
I could stack shelves at Coles and get paid the same amount.
What Tyler's paying you?
Nah, as a mechanic. as a mechanic.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess like that's something I wonder about as well. Like with vehicles going the way they're going, like a mechanic now does a very different job to what a mechanic did like say 30 years ago, right?
Yeah, literally. Much different.
Yeah.
So much different.
Heaps more technology.
Heaps more trying to figure out why electrics aren't working, and I'm not a wizard. So
Yeah, well it's almost like a completely different skill set, right?
it is. Yeah. It's like you almost have to be half auto electrician, half mechanic.
Yeah.
And they're two different things.
Very different. Yeah. I wouldn't let my auto electrician do any mechanical work on my car, and I probably wouldn't let my mechanic do any electrical work on it.
Here I am doing both.
Yeah, but that's a bit different.
We're getting there.
Yeah, right. So, if say you tomorrow Tyler comes to you and says, "Where do you want to go on a trip? Where are you going?" Is there anything you haven't done that you want to do?
Yeah. Western Australia is always a big one, obviously. And Kimberley's Northern Territory.
Nah, Kimberley's
top
WA, but it's
Is
top
it?
end WA.
Yeah, with top end. And I suppose the top of Northern Territory.
Yeah.
All up there.
It's just the distance. It
makes everything very hard. Even just like getting there, you think you drive on the highway for 3 days, you've probably lost $1,500 in fuel.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, that's the killer, eh? Like,
Yeah.
it's just the pure distance to get there before you even start.
Yeah, exactly. It'd almost be cheaper to ship your car there.
Yeah, but then there's a lot of horror stories about cars going missing and
Exactly, and you miss half of it's the adventure to get there anyway.
yeah.
So you drive.
And you guys are driving everywhere, right?
We drive everywhere. We don't trailer anything anywhere.
You're not like me.
No, we drive.
I was talking to someone today about trailering my car or trucking my car up to Cairns.
Yeah.
For a different reason though. Like for me, like a 3-week trip that then turns into a 4-week trip means time away from work, time away from the family.
Exactly. Like I think what we did to Cape, I think it was a 2-week trip, including driving there. So like are driving a lot. There's not like we stop for like I don't know 2 hours, 3 hours, have a swim, keep going, keep filming, and then
Yeah, right.
just keep going. It's sort of flat.
So you did
flat
there and
issues.
back in 2 weeks.
Was Cape there and back 2 weeks or 2 and a bit?
Yeah, like two and a bit, I think. I think we did, what, 10, 11 days from Cairns to the top and back. And then we did like 3 days travel either side of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
So you've done the Cape once?
only that once.
Did you go back?
Would I go back? Yeah, I'd go back. 100%, I'd go back.
Are you going back?
Yeah, I'll go back.
Yeah.
I'll go back. I didn't even get to go to the tip.
This is good. I'm enjoying this. You know,
It wasn't in the
Oh,
it wasn't in the budget.
budget.
He said the top isn't that good anyway, so
Really?
we turned around.
yeah, right.
He'd already done it, so it made sense on on his behalf.
So let's say Kimberley, Northern Territory, top end, all that sort of stuff. What about like closer to home? Is there anything that you haven't driven that you want to? Is there any like?
Closer to home. Places I want to go close to home. The only real place I can think of I haven't been close to home is like Old Grafton Road, that area.
Yeah, okay, I don't know that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of cod fishing country.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Do you get into a bit of fishing?
I used to do it heaps.
Is it?
Something's going on over there. I used to do heaps of fishing. That's where my number plate came from. So Rex Berto was Rex Hunt / Berto. That's that's the crossover. It sort of was a nickname that I just got, and it's just stuck.
Because you were into your fishing a bit.
Yeah, my Instagram used to be me holding up like 2 bass at once.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Ah, very good. Well, it's funny because I was meaning to ask you that, and I'd forgotten until you brought it up. So I'm glad you did, because I looked at your name today for some reason. I must have looked at a message or something. I was like, what the hell is Rexerto? Where does this come from? So
Yeah, so Rex / Berto.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So Rex was a bit of an influence back in the day.
Yeah, well, sort of. Yeah, he was like Guinness World Record, Rex Hunt, pro fisherman dude.
Yeah.
He was always just a name that was, you'd think of, a really good fisherman when you thought of Rex.
Well, I mean, for so many of us, right, it was like pre-internet, so it wasn't like we had exposure to all the different fishers. It was
literally, in the magazine, Rex Hunt, that's him.
He was the dude, right?
You're lucky I don't have a Rex Hunt edition GQ. You know they come out?
Did they?
Ford Maverick.
Really?
They have a Rex Hunt edition.
I've never seen one of them.
Yeah, there's not many.
They're probably
Pretty sure they're a petrol RB30 carby. Yeah.
so, not a highly desirable.
And they're normally
configuration,
maroon, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So you don't fish much anymore?
Not as much as I used to.
Yeah.
Not as much as I used to. I used to have a tinny. I used to go like every day after work, daylight savings.
Freshwater or salt?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. Love my bass fishing, but dewy fishing, flatty fishing, a little bit outside, not too much. I had a mate that had a boat. We'd go out get kingy, snapper.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
And is that up where you live now?
Yeah, in Port. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're in good dewy territory up there.
Yeah. Well, it hasn't been commercially fished for a long time. They're not allowed to, so everything's sort of restocking, getting back. You get anything from soapies to your metre 30.
Yeah, they get some big boys up there on the north coast, eh?
Yeah. So I've never got a big one, but
Yeah.
I've got a fair few little ones. Even I used to have a kayak.
Yeah.
You catch a dewy in a kayak's pretty fun. They
Yeah.
tow you around.
Yeah. Well, I had I've still got a couple of kayaks, but I had a Hobie Pro Angler 14. I used to fish the harbour all the time, and
Yeah.
when you hook a good king in a kayak, you know about
Oh
it.
yeah,
Like,
you'd know about
just
it.
lock the
good.
dragon, hope for the best.
Well, you got a good kayak. I got one of them kayaks to fish, mate.
Oh yeah. Well, to be honest, I didn't have the PA 14 for very long. It was it was expensive, but that wasn't the problem. The problem was the weight. It was so heavy.
Heavy,
Getting it
yeah.
on and off a lifted four-wheel drive was
Yeah.
just punishing me.
So I used to have the VS ute. You'd have 2 kayaks in the back. You take one for your friend.
Yeah.
You'd hop in. You go fishing. It's good as.
Well, if you're a bass fisher, I'll have to get you to give me some tips, man, because I'm the worst freshwater fisherman that's ever lived.
Freshwater fishing is hard.
Freshwater just, man, I've spent a lot of time up at Lake St Clair, and I just can't figure it out.
Lakes, I hate lakes. Lakes suck.
Yeah.
So I normally freshwater fish for bass. Half an hour north we have Kempsey, which is the Macleay River.
Yep.
And you go up the back of that, and I'd go in there at 8 in the morning, fish till 10. I'd caught 30 bass. You'd go home. It's up there. It's wild up there. It's good.
Yeah,
It's
that's cool.
I'll support. You go like creek fishing, you might catch one bass in a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, up there, you know, I think the biggest bass I ever got was like 44 centimeters.
Yeah, so a proper one.
Donkey bass. Yeah.
And they pull pretty hard for
Yeah, they
for a
do.
smaller fish.
I caught that fish one day, and then I hooked another fish, same spot, and it spooled me. It said, "See you later."
Really?
They get bigger than that.
Yeah, they get some proper ones. There was one last year that was like 57 centimeters or something. Some bloke caught a wild river bass. And,
Yeah.
like, the thing was huge, bro.
Yeah, they're massive.
Yeah, it's something that like I've always fished salt, right?
Yeah.
And it's only in recent years of like just because of like being out full driving that
Yeah,
you're in,
yeah.
you know, you're in
Opportunities.
bass country and like I've caught a couple of them, but I just can't figure it out. Like it's a very different skill set. I feel
Yeah. Depends how you're trying to catch them too. Top water or
all on top water, man.
morning and night only. No
Yeah.
daytime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've caught one.
Or in the rain.
Really?
Yeah. They like the pressure changes.
Yeah, right. It's all the
So-
barometric pressure and all that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
they're real sensitive to it.
Well, I think like for me, when I went to Lake St Clair, I only went a couple of weeks ago and took the boat up there.
Yeah.
And like, mate, I flogged that piece of water for like 3 days straight and I got one touch on the first day and that was it. And I reckon there was a real low pressure system around and I reckon all the fish were just sitting on the bottom, mate.
Yeah. Lake fishing is weird because there's so much water.
Mm.
And like they don't sit out everywhere. They're in certain spots. You sort of have to figure out where they are. And then they fish heaps different. Like you're normally fishing like a hill like this and they're just sitting on the bank at a certain depth.
Really?
Yeah, they're whack. I've been to Glenbourne a few times.
Yeah.
And they fight pretty good in there when you can find them.
Yeah, well, that's a massive waterway, right?
Yeah, it's
like I think that's
huge.
bigger than like something like 3 times bigger than Sydney Harbour or something stupid.
Yeah.
Like it's massive.
Yeah.
I haven't been up there. Did you camp when you went up there?
Yeah, we just camped on the bank. Where like we just had swags and gazebo, boat ramps here, we camp just here.
Yeah.
Leave the boat at your camp. Go
Yeah.
straight across, catch some fish there, and then we went looking other places and you know, you think, oh there's timber here, timber there, there's gonna be fish here. Mate, no.
Well, I think that's what does my head in about it, right? Like, because I go to St Clair and I look on the sounder and there's structure everywhere.
Is St. Clair the one with the mining thing and it's really warm?
Singleton.
Yeah, that's the one. I think it's a really warm one. Unless St. Clair isn't. There's one right near the mine. There's one of them that's like heated. The mine uses the water to keep something cool,
Yeah.
and the water's like really hot.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's one of them. But anyway, it's meant to be good fishing because the water's warm, so everything's active.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know. It just, mate, I go through there in the boat and there's like fallen timber everywhere, like, you know,
Yeah.
like the dead forest in the middle. I'm like, this is going to be, it looks fishy and there's just nothing.
nah, top water. I don't think top water's that great for damn impoundment stuff.
Not when it's deep water, eh?
Yeah,
So what, the top water's more like it's sort of like skinny.
not even skinny. It can be deep, but it needs to be. I don't know. There's too many variables. It could be like deep water with weed, and then they're like sitting in weed, just sitting there looking. Skinny water makes it easier because you know there's less water.
Yeah. Less opportunities for them to hide.
If there's a log in the water, it's on the log.
Yeah, because
you
it can't
can-
be anywhere else.
Exactly. Where the other way, it could be anywhere.
Yeah, right.
I've always sucked at impoundment fishing.
Yeah, okay. Well, that makes me feel a little bit
Yes,
better.
mate.
When
Some
you're talking
people
about catching 30 bass in a session, I'm like, oh, maybe I should just quit. Mate, I'd like to just catch one.
just one.
One in a session would be good. Anything that's not a donut, I think, is preferable.
Well, it's like once you figure the fish out where they normally sit, like I had that spot dialed in. I'd take whoever there. You'd roll up. You'd put like just a little paddle tail thing on with a little Colorado blade on.
Yeah.
Cast it out. You'd hit the weed. Just wind it, slow wind it, so it's just above the weed, and you'd be like fish after fish,
Really?
like non-stop.
See, it's funny because I think like the third time I ever went bass fishing was with Cowboy Tune, and we went in his canoe, and like to be honest, it was more of a drinking session than a fishing session. But he's like, mate, this spot, it's like I got it dialed. There's fish here. It's gonna be mad. We flogged that waterway.
Caught nothing.
Well, he got one in like the first 5 minutes, and I was like, all right, we're on here. Nothing. Nothing. And then we fished all day the next day, and I got one fish out of there, and I was like, mate, you are talking crap. He's like, nah, it's normally really good. Maybe there's been too much fresh, or maybe there's a temperature. I'm like, mate, seriously, it does my head in.
It always happens taking someone fishing. It happens to me normally in the salt. Like, you'll have it dialed. You take someone there, be like, yeah, we'll catch fish. It's like, we're not catching nothing.
You know what? I think about that all the time. I actually, I had a guy on the show recently, Redbeard, who's done a lot of fly fishing guiding.
Yeah.
And I was saying to him, like, this has got to be one of the hardest pursuits, right? Like,
The
having to
guide.
go out and get people on fish, right? Like, they're
Yeah.
paying you big money,
You got to do it.
but sometimes they don't play ball, right?
Yeah.
It's not something I'd ever want to do.
I had a bloke I know, dude I went to school with, dad, used to have a fishing charter in Salt, where I live. And I don't think he ever had a day they didn't catch a fish. But I feel like when you're on the water every day, sometimes twice a day, like, you know where the fish are. Because they don't move that far in a day.
Yeah.
You just, you get it dialed in, you follow them around.
Well, that's what Redbeard was saying. He's like, he lives on the harbour, right? And he's like, I just call people and be like, where are you catching fish? And between the network, they sort of know
they figure
roughly
it out.
where to start.
Yeah,
But yeah, I know, for a wreck fisher, when you haven't fished a waterway for a while,
yeah,
and like for me, St. Clair, you get in the boat and you're like, I don't even know where to start here.
literally.
Yeah, it's hard going.
I feel like in impoundment you need to have good sounders and all the equipment.
Yeah.
You need to find the fish. You don't just cast that sticks.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Otherwise, you're literally just casting blind, eh?
Literally.
So you mentioned cod. Have you done much cod fishing?
I haven't caught a cod.
You haven't caught
I haven't
one?
caught a cod.
Is this a sore point?
I've been to Copeland before a couple of times.
Oh, yeah.
Lake Misery.
Because they get some big...
They get some bangers.
Yeah.
Never caught a cod. Never caught one.
I follow this guy called Andy McGovern fishing, and he's like got it dialed, right?
Yeah.
And like he's like, oh yeah, just went for a walk, and he's just got this like slob cod that's like over a metre long, and I'm like, you're not normal, eh? Like
Nah.
you're not just like, you've put a lot of hours into that to be that good.
Yeah, he's put a lot of time into that.
Yeah.
Some people are like that. Some people just dial in on the one fish.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be one waterway. You just sort of have to know what you need to know and figure out the fish. I
There's
don't
some
know.
guys like that up the north coast with the Jewies, eh?
Oh, there's freaks.
Yeah, but they live for it, right?
They do, yeah. Like every time it rains, straight to the wall. They get fish every time.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And they fish in like the worst conditions, right?
Yeah.
As soon as there's like an east coast low, they're like, yes, let's go
literally.
Mulloway fishing. It's like,
Literally, I seen a story the other day. It's like, it's raining, I can't work. Off to the wall they go.
oh,
Next
true.
story was a Dewey.
Oh,
like a
yeah,
metre,
yeah.
a metre bang on a metre Dewey. I'm like,
Yeah, but those
that
guys
guy.
are out there when everyone else is tucked up at home, right?
yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I had a session when I first got into it, and we were live baiting herring. And we had to have this spot, I think. We pulled there was three of us, we pulled 20 Deweys out in a year. Still not much, but
Yeah.
we were there every afternoon, rail hand shot,
Really?
raincoats, it didn't matter. We were there with a bucket of herring,
Yeah.
hook in, wait for the tide to change, sit there for 4 hours, freezing cold. Might get one, might get 2 bites at one go, just as they're swimming by, and then
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
gone.
There's such a, it's such a weird fish because, I've spent
Many.
many hours chasing them. I've caught a few, but my dream has always been to catch a big one off the beach.
Yeah.
And, mate, I have spent
A lot of
countless
time.
nights on the beach just for nothing. Like banjo sharks, rays.
Shovel nose.
Yeah,
right?
shovel nose, rays, and then the worst memory I ever have was North Narrabeen. I was sitting there all night, freezing my ass off, live squid, the whole deal. I'm like, no, I'm in this perfect gutter.
Yeah.
And then as the sun come up, these 2 Chinese blokes who were fishing down the beach from me, I could see their head torches all night, walk past, and each of them's dragging a Dewey up the beach, and I'm like,
You're joking. You were one gutter
oh,
off.
what'd you catch them on? And they're like, pilchards. And I just went, oh, I think I need to give this up, eh?
Literally.
But then there's dudes that get it and they just zone in on them. But it's time, right?
It's time. You gotta have a lot of time, a lot of passion.
Yeah.
And you sort of need to, if you don't figure it out, sometimes it's hard to figure out yourself. Sometimes you need a mentor.
Mm.
You need to learn the skills of someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a bit of a shortcut there, right? And I think,
Yeah.
particularly on the North Coast, there's a bit of that, secret Mulloway club.
Group, yeah.
Like you got to get in the
You gotta
club.
get in the club.
You got to earn your way
spot.
into the club. Yeah.
You gotta stand on the rocks for days and catch one in front of everyone.
Yeah. Or like be out there when it's terrible weather and they're like, oh yeah, he's committed.
alright, yeah.
Yeah.
I might tell him, just a little bit further that way.
So cod, are you still chasing them or have you?
I'm not really chasing anything currently. Like, I don't just go out at the moment. I normally only fish if I'm gonna go somewhere and I know there's like a potential to catch a fish. I'll take a rod and I'll give it a good crack. Yeah, I used to go like every single weekend, every afternoon I could. But yeah, I haven't put any time in it lately, especially cod. But
Is that just like a change in focus, change in passion sort of thing?
yeah, it's one of them things. I sort of grow in and out of different hobbies. And, it's always there. Like I love the fishing, but I'm currently in my off fishing period. Yeah.
I get that though. Like I've fished all my life, but there's definitely periods where I fish heaps.
Yeah, there's some you don't go for 3 months.
Yeah, you don't go for a while. I mean, I'm a bit different now because I've moved to the coast, so I'm like 500 metres from the water. I can't really go, oh, it's too far away. So I fish a fair bit, but like, probably not as much as I'd like to.
Yeah.
But it's always like a choice, right?
Yeah.
Like, am I going to go wheeling or am I going to go fishing or am I going to go do something else? Or and particularly when you're building a car from the ground up, like there's a bit of time involved in that.
Time, and I don't have money for lures, mate. They're expensive. They're more expensive than car parts.
Especially when you're bass fishing and you're casting them into trees, right?
Oh, dude, you seen how just before Christmas, I swam across the river, climbed up a tree, got it out on the channel.
No. What was that, to get a lure back?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Literally, I was like halfway up this tree. I'm like walking out on the tree, and then I'm like, just grab it, and then the branch I'm on snaps. I fall in the water. Got the lure butt, so
Where
it was
was
worth it. It was up the top of the Maclay.
I'll have to find that and watch it just for the comedic value.
Yeah, it's on Tyler's channel.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's the family trip just before Christmas. It's funny. It's very funny. I'm literally like, he got the whole thing. I like walk across chest deep water, climb up a tree, slip in. It's hilarious.
There's something about that, eh? Like I don't even want to know what I've spent on fishing gear over the years. But like when you lose a lure that's like $30, it's like, oh, that hurts. And then you lose 3 or 4 of them, and it starts becoming quite expensive, doesn't it?
Literally. I remember I took a few rods to the desert because we're going past, not just on that trip. And I lent one to Sean, whatever, and he somehow snaps it, and I'm like, you just snap like a $300 fishing rod. Yeah.
Oh man, I've shut many rods in car doors and snapped rods doing stupid things over the years.
It happens. I've gone through that many rods. And the more you fish, the more expensive the rods get. And then it hurts more and more.
It's a slippery slope, isn't it?
Oh, dude, you can spend so much money on fishing gear. It's ridiculous.
It's unbelievable. And it's like one of those things, like you can buy, you build a 4-wheel drive, right? You got a 4-wheel drive. It does what you need it to do. Fishing is not like that. You don't buy like one fishing rod and go, oh, I'm done now.
Nah, I've got like 12 fishing rods.
Yeah. And there's always something like a little bit different or, I want to run a different line class on this one. And it's such a, it's one of those hobbies that you can go so deep into it, right?
Yeah, definitely. You can go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, and then you turn into the real Rex.
Yeah, literally.
Your whole life becomes about fishing.
Literally.
Do you still follow any of the like fishing content creators? Do you watch any of it or?
Every now and then I watch Sammy Hitzky.
Yeah, sick.
Sammy's good.
Yeah.
He's probably the only one I watch. And he does stuff with Shauna now, fair bit. And then from the States, I watch a bit of John B, but not lately. He's been terrible.
Is that bass fishing?
Yeah, he's freshwater in the States, like bass fishing, pike, random.
I've never watched any of that. Hey, I've never got into it, but their bass fishing culture over there is insane.
It's crazy. And it's so different to what we have here.
They're not the same fish.
No,
right?
they're not. So ours are native to Australia.
Yeah.
And they have smallmouth and largemouth, which ours is neither of them.
Yeah. Ours is an Australian bass.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually I shot an episode with Sammy when we were up in Brisbane.
Yeah.
So that's coming out soon. It's pretty funny. This will come out after Sammy's episode, so I can talk about it. You know how he actually got started?
Yeah.
He started a Facebook page called Nude Fishing Australia.
Oh,
and it was
really?
him and his mates like getting naked and holding up pictures of fish, holding up fish and taking pictures. That's how he started
That's
with
hilarious.
fishing media, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely entertaining.
He's good. It's the perfect amount between talking and not being boring and actually catching fish.
Yeah.
He seems to be good at actually catching fish.
Oh, he is a freak. Like, and he's one of those dudes. You know how you were saying like people can zone in on a particular species?
Yeah.
He can do that with all of them.
Yeah, all the
Like he can catch ludrick and he can catch blue marlin.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, let's go catch some spanner crabs, and he can go do that.
He just, I figured that out. I'll lock that away for later.
Unbelievable.
Literally.
He had a little bit of a head start in that his dad's also a gun fisher. So I think a
Yeah.
bit of that knowledge transfer. So
Transferred hard.
Not taken away from what he's done. He's definitely put the hours in.
Yeah. And who else? I used to watch a bit of is it like Briggsy and that used
Oh,
to do
yeah.
fishing? You know, you get the occasional GT buster, that dude. Other than that, I think that's pretty much all the fishing I really delved into. Oh, and who else was there? There was that, was it Timmy Turtle used to get about?
Yeah. I think
He sort of fell off.
Yeah, I think he quit.
Yeah.
I think he
got a
had
really
enough.
big boat built and that, and said, I'm out of here. I'm moving to far north Queensland. That's what it came across as anyway.
Yeah, I remember watching that, and he's like, I'm quitting because,
It's too hard.
it was too hard. And I'm like, well, okay. I can think of harder ways to make a living than fishing, but
Yeah, literally.
I don't know. You could be building cars for someone else. Well, mate, it's getting late.
It is getting late.
I'll let you knock off, and you got another day of wheeling tomorrow. You guys are out here filming.
We're out here filming. We're trying to do what I'm trying to do, harder stuff than we normally do. Some of the stuff that I think half of the tracks no one else really films on the YouTube side of things, because there's a whole like aspect of it that no one sees unless you come and do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I don't know how well it'll transfer, but
Well, particularly up here, right? Like, there's some super hard tracks
Oh,
that don't
yeah.
get filmed.
yeah,
And the guys that drive them don't have YouTube channels and
nah,
don't
or
publicise them.
Instagrams or anything.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
just come out here and do it because they froth it, right?
Literally, exactly.
I've heard you mention Ant Hill a few times today. I haven't driven it, but one of my mates has and nearly binned his car on it. And like,
Yeah.
It looks pretty,
It's a serious hill.
yeah.
I drove it last time I was here for the prostate cancer weekend that they had. I drove it with a rooftop. Me and one other dude drove it with a rooftop.
Yeah, that would have felt good.
It was great. It was a pretty sketchy committing situation, but
It's one of those ones you gotta commit to it, right?
yeah, we had like 100 people standing at the top of it. There was like a full crowd.
That doesn't make it easier, eh?
No,
It's
you,
like backing a trailer. You never want an audience for backing a trailer, right?
you just got to lock everyone out, lock everyone out and lock in.
Even like getting to the boat ramp and then there's heaps of people and you're like, oh no, the pressure's on. Like, don't want to
Literally.
cook this end up at an angle across the boat ramp.
Every time.
Yeah. Oh, well, you've picked the right time to come out in midweek then.
Yeah, so it'll be good.
Yeah,
Should be
nice
fun.
one, man. Well, appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, mate.
Good to see you.
And we will see all of you next time on the outer side.